Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today we're going to be reacting to the brand new season update, Adventures Abound. They've dropped all of the patch notes and I've had a quick read through it. It is absolutely insane what they've done. They've nerfed Medicham, they've nerfed Lantern, and they're buffing just an absolute ton of Pokemon. So we're going to hop into all of the details, all of the cops, and everything, including all of the new moves and all that kind of fun stuff as well. So the season is going to be starting September 1st at 1 PM PDT. So it'll be the same time anywhere in the world, GMT -7. Of course, you'll get your end of season rewards, your rank will get reset, and the rank up requirements will remain the same as the prior season. So no changes to the way you gain elo or anything like that. Now we have a look at all of the cups here. We're starting out as usual with the Great League and Element Cup Remix Little Edition. Since it's a remix, we're not going to have any Ducklets, probably Chinchus, Salandits, and we're going to have a look at that in a minute. So we have Element Cup for the first 2 weeks and an Ultra League and Great League. For me personally, I'll be playing Great League and Ultra League. For the third week, we actually have Master League. I think that's quite rare to have Master League so early in the season. And we do have Psychic Cup. Psychic Cup is quite an interesting one, and I think with a lot of the move updates, we should see some quite interesting Pokemon in the Psychic Cup now. From September 30th to October 7th, we've got Ultra League, Sunshine Cup, Great League. Sunshine Cup was a pretty popular cup last season, and of course we'll get into the details of all the cups after. During October 7th to 14th, we have 4 times Stardust, and I think this is going to be a Go Battle event. We've got Great League and another Sunshine Cup. From this season, I'm not a huge fan of how we've got 2 weeks of cups. We've got 2 weeks of Element Cup, 2 weeks of Psychic Cup, 2 weeks of Sunshine Cup, 2 weeks of Halloween Cup, 2 weeks of Electric Cup, and we're actually ending the season on Great League, Ultra League and Master League with Catch Cup 1 week before the season ends. Now this is quite an interesting one. They've completely removed any other cup except for Catch Cup from November 18th to 25th. I mean, I guess this season it's going to be a little bit different because we have all of the Paldean Pokemon and a lot of new things to build, so Catch Cup kind of makes sense. But I mean, realistically, people are going to build their 7th Medicham, and we'll see how that goes. This is definitely a great change right here. They're finishing the season on Great League, Ultra League and Master, but I think we should have a better variety of cups, and hopefully with the new move updates, these metas won't get too stale too quickly. So having a look at the Go Battle weekend, it's from October 7th to October 8th, and it's just the standard 20 sets per day. You get a free time research, including the Gita style gloves, which I guess is the featured character for the season. You get a paid research awarding Stardust, Rare XL Candy, and a Star Piece. I'm not seeing any Elite Charge TMs, but they may add that in later on. The active leagues will be Single Type Cup and Master Premier for that. Maybe that's a mistake, I don't see Single Type Cup here. So that's from October 7th. Yeah, so we've got Great League. I think it was Single Type Cup last time around, so I think that's just a typo. So we've got the encounters here. We've got Bisharp, which of course King's Gambit is going to be coming into the game, the evolution of Bisharp. We get a guaranteed Carbink at rank 6, so for all of you guys who missed out in GoFest, you will have a chance to get Carbink, and I suspect that this is going to be in Catch Cup as well, and I think we'll have more chances to catch it throughout the season. So maybe if you do want to use Carbink in the Catch Cup, you don't build one of the ones you've got now, you maybe just wait around and see if you get a better one, or try to catch one mid-season. And of course we just have Pikachu Libre and some very standard things here. The standard encounters look pretty similar to last season. I think there's not a huge difference here from what I can tell. We do have Wooloo, and we actually, of course, like I said, have Carbink from 6+. So it looks like this is just going to be in GBL rewards in general. So that's definitely very good news right there. I think whenever you have a Pokemon as powerful as Carbink, you need to sort of distribute it a little bit better. Once again, we have the Go Battle League Temp Research Pass at no cost, which will give you all of your TMs. You've got avatars and all our rewards. It's going to be Gita Style Pose, Pants, Shirt, and so on. Now having a look at the cups here, Great League, Ultra League, Master League, Element Cup Remix. This should be quite interesting. No Chinchu, no Cottony, no Ducklet, and no Salandit. I think these 2 Pokemon for sure should just be banned from Element Cup in general, but it's good to see we've got a remix this time around. Psychic Cup Great League Edition, only Psychic types, no Mew is allowed. Makes perfect sense. Psychic Cup is quite an interesting one. Definitely can be a bit of an RPS Cup. Last time around it had, of course, Galarian, Slowbro, and Slowking. And it's generally a cup that's dominated by Galarian Rapidash and stuff like that, so it can be quite interesting. Hopefully these move updates make this cup a lot more interesting, to be honest with you. Sunshine Cup, normal, fire, grass, and ground. Charizard is not allowed. Again, I'm not too sure why Charizard is not allowed in this cup, because last time we had a ton of Noctiles, which in my personal opinion is probably a little bit more OP, but that's fine. Halloween Cup, which will be Poison, Bug, Ghost, Dark, and Fairy type Pokemon. Electric Cup, which is Electric Pokemon, with the exceptions of these 4. Vikavolt, Charjabug, Heliolisk, and Stunfisk. It has been leaked that we're getting a community day for these Pokemon here, so it must be an indication that those will get quite good movesets. And then we have the Catch Cup. Only Pokemon that are caught during the season, of course, are eligible. mythical Pokemon or not. Just the same stuff we have now. Now, getting into the juicy stuff here, new attacks. Again, this was leaked on Twitter, or of course by Pokeminers. 65 power, and increases the attack by 1 stage guaranteed, which is going to be quite an interesting one. And it's 65 power in gyms. I'm not really going to go into gyms and raids here. Scorching Sands, ground type charge attack, 80 power, with a chance to lower the opponent's attack by 1 stage. And we have Triple Axle, which if I'm not mistaken, I heard somebody say it was Icy Wind clone, except for it increases your attack by 1 stage. Now here's some really juicy stuff right here. Spark. The damage Spark does is getting increased from 4 to 8, but the energy generation is going to get decreased. That is quite a big change. It's going to allow Lantern to really spark down those flying types, but it's not going to allow it to absolutely spam Surfs and completely dominate things like Swampert, Quagsire, and all of the other ground types in the meta. I think that's been the problem with Lantern. It's just too consistent with a slight advantage to take out the ground types. With this, Sparks are going to be inconsequential anyway, and hopefully they're going to be getting far less Surfs off on ground types, which makes that match a lot more comfortable. This is a move people have wanted to get buffed for a long time. They're going to be buffing the energy generation. So let's have a look at Astonish and see which Pokemon can learn that. We have Koffigrigus. Dunsparce can learn Astonish, which is quite interesting actually. A normal type with pretty much like a weaker Shadow Claw. Runerigus, Haunter, Drifblim, Decidueye with Astonish could be insane. Palossand, which of course has been super weak since it came into the game. And we have Mawile, Amoonguss. So we could be seeing some really sort of fringe Pokemon getting buffed with Astonish. We have Golurk as well, Goldengo, Misdreavus, a ton of Pokemon sitting way outside the meta are going to get a huge buff with Astonish, and that's definitely pretty cool to see. Psychic is getting nerfed from 90 power to 85 power, so that is a slight nerf to Medicham. I'm not sure how much of a consequence that will have, but we'll have to see what happens. From the looks of things, that seems to be the only thing that they could really think of that would not completely destroy all our Pokemon. My opinion with Medicham is maybe to remove the availability of Ice Punch, but I think that's definitely a good start to lower the damage of Psychic. Now, X-Scissor is getting a buff, and that buffs just an absolute ton of Pokemon outside the meta. Lurantis can learn X-Scissor. I don't think you would want to use it, because of course it has Leaf Blade and Super Power, and a spoiler alert, it's getting another move. Beedrill, Sneasler, Hawlucha, Hisuian Sneasel, Golisopod I think is the most notable one here, but also notable with Golisopod is Aurelius. Energy cost decreased, so this is going to be just a spammy move now. Aurelius in general is quite a weak move with like a decent amount of energy. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So if Aurelius is a spammy move, I think that could be pretty decent for that Pokemon, and that could make a huge shift in the meta. Some very notable Pokemon that can learn Aurelius are Gliscor, Greninja, Mandibuzz, Pidgeot, which could be quite an interesting one, Mantine, Serperior, Tropius, Beedrill, Emolga, which of course has acrobatics anyway, Escavalier, Jumpluff, Gligar, Sneasler, Hawlucha. Togetic could be pretty insane with Aurelius, and just a lot of Pokemon that are sitting outside. Even Rayquaza, if you don't want to use Dragon Ascent, has Aurelius, so that's definitely going to make a bit of a splash. And in fact, Togekiss is a very probably underrated one here. In the Master League, it has very, very high cost moves. One can only assume it'll cost 35, 40 energy, something like that, which gives Togekiss a bait move, which could be very interesting in the Master and certainly all of the open leagues. Sky Attack is getting its energy increased, so I'm thinking they're probably going to make it like a Shadow Ball clone, so most likely it's going to be 7 for the Shadow Ball, 7 for the Sky Attack. We'll have to see how that goes, probably 7, 7, 6 if I had to guess. They're decreasing the energy cost of Dig, which again, guys, they're just buffing so many Pokemon. They're literally just throwing everything at this and just saying, look, we're going to buff everything. Some of the most notable Pokemon with Dig are Diggersby, Dunsparce, Gligar, Zangoose, Linoone. Linoone is a Pokemon that's just kind of sitting outside the meta, but with a move like Dig, I feel like it could start to get some fringe play at the very least in the meta. Nidorina, Nidorino, Graveler, those could be some very decent ones. Gabite, some very nice spice picks that have Dig. I think most notably it's going to be Diggersby, Dunsparce, and Gligar, which will benefit from that. Energy cost decreased and it'll be 80 power instead of 100. That could be very good for Diggersby. It gives it that move that's a little bit cheaper than Earthquake and could allow you to get to moves a little bit faster. Now they're actually nerfing Earthquake itself as well, down to 110 power. So they're just completely like balancing these moves against each other. Poltergeist is going to be 150 power. I think the cost of Poltergeist needs to go down. It's not the damage that's the problem, it's really the length of time it takes to get to it. And Boomburst, ladies and gents, is getting its energy cost decreased. Maybe finally, our Community Day Pokemon of Noivern will be somewhat useful. And of course, the plethora of Pokemon which got Boomburst last season. The Magnemite family is now getting Volt Switch, which I think is a pretty big deal. Of course they're nerfing Spark, which would have quite an effect on those Pokemon. so they're actually getting replaced with this move instead, which I think is a good move. Regieleki's getting Volt Switch. Shout out to Yasser Elite, I learned from him that a Volt Switch is basically 2 Shadow Claws stacked on top of each other. Super strong move, and I think that's going to make a big difference in the Ultra League especially. Swalot, Greedent, Krogunk and Toxicroak will now be able to learn Mud Shot. I think Krogunk is definitely aimed at Bronzor in the Little Cup, and Toxicroak, while I think Counter is better, it definitely gives like quite a different option and it may be quite useful to have that. I think Greedent is probably the biggest winner here. Mudshot being an amazing move for energy generation, with Crunch and Body Slam. It could just push that Pokemon up just that little bit more, which could give it a little bit more play in the Great League and Ultra League. And Swalot, I think is quite an interesting Pokemon in fact. Its best fast move is Infestation, which is a pretty bad move. But now having access to Mudshot could really set it up there. No Sludge Bomb, Ice Beam, Gunk Shot, Acid Spray. And generally that could make that a lot more usable. Now this next part of the list is absolutely insane in my opinion. Onix, Breaking Swipe. Steelix, Breaking Swipe. Ladies and gents, say hello to the new Ultra League meta. Steelix with Breaking Swipe I feel like is going to make a huge splash in the Ultra League. And maybe even Onix, like level 50 Onix in the Great League. Could be quite an interesting one too. Rhydon, Breaking Swipe, Rhyperior, Sceptile, Heliolisk, Regidrago, all getting Breaking Swipe, which is quite unexpected. Heliolisk is quite a cool Pokemon, but again it doesn't really have the charge moves to set it up to perform. Having a debuff move and a bait debuff move at that will definitely make a huge difference with that Pokemon. It knows Grass Knot, and of course it'll know Breaking Swipe, so that could be quite a unique core breaker now. I think it definitely could help out Rhydon, like maybe like a high level Rhydon in the Great League, or Rhyperior in the Ultra League. We'll have to see about that one. And of course Sceptile definitely appreciates this move. Sceptile with Breaking Swipe and Frenzy Plant could be very good now at this point. Regidrago, I think that Pokemon was pretty much useless until now. I think it still needs to get Lock On, but that is certainly a huge improvement for that Pokemon. A Kelgor will now get the move Water Shuriken, which is quite an interesting one. This is a Pokemon again that hasn't seen a lot of play. Its moveset is Bug Buzz, Focus Blast and Acid Spray typically. Having Water Shuriken as a bug type could be a very interesting pick, and again I don't even know where to start predicting with this, there's so much going on here. We're getting an absolute ton of Pokemon with Blaze Kick as well. Riolu, which once again is probably aimed at Bronzor, Lucario, Incineroar, which badly needs a move. It's only got Flame Charge and Dark Pulse. This could actually help Incineroar become quite decent in the Ultra League. Mineshaw, which is a pretty useless Pokemon, and Hitmonlee will be getting Blaze Kick. I think that's pretty huge. Now Golisopod, Krabby, Kingler, Corphish, Crawdaunt, Shelder, Cloyster, Barbaracle will all learn Razor Shell. It's a 35 energy move, it's not particularly good, but there's a 50% chance that you -1 defense on the opponent. So that could be quite interesting for these quite glassy Pokemon like Crawdaunt, Cloyster, Barbaracle that really need that debuff, similar to how they done with Haxorus. Getting that debuff could be quite good. Of course Golisopod is also quite glassy, but Golisopod is getting an absolute ton of things in its arsenal now. Buffed X-Scissor, it got Liquidation last season. It's now getting this move, Razor Shell, and of course buffed X-Scissor, buffed Aerialius. This Pokemon is about to be insane and I'm very excited for Golisopod. Now we're getting a ton of new Pokemon with grass moves, which I think has been a badly needed thing in the Great League. The only two Pokemon that have a good grass coverage are Lickitung and Cresselia. That's why I've been talking so much about Cresselia recently. It's got grass coverage, which is huge, right? You're going to see from these next move updates we're getting a ton of grass coverage now, which I think is badly needed in the Great League. Now first of all, we're getting a brand new fast move, which is going to be much better than Vine Whip. We're getting Magical Leaf on Mr. Mime, Chikorita, Bayleaf, Meganium, which is going to make them a real player, I personally think. Blossom, of course a Glass Cannon could be really fun. Roselia and Roserade definitely could be very fun as well. We just had the Legacy Bullet Seed on this. Mismagius, Shaman, Rowlet, Dartrix, Decidueye of course getting another move. It just had its other move buffed as well. Perlia and Gardevoir, Lilligant and Meowstic. Quite a lot of new Pokemon getting that move. And like I said, I don't even know where to start. Maybe Gardevoir is going to come in and not be a Charmer. Who knows? But they've got a very good fast move, which generates energy decently now. So that should be very interesting. Now we're getting a ton of Pokemon with the new move, Trailblaze, which just as a reminder, 65 power increases the attack by 1 stage, so it buffs your attack, right? So we've got Tauros, Sudowoodo, that could be so fun. I know Nerds Rising is going to enjoy that one. Mareep, Flaffy, Ampharos. This is amazing for Ampharos, man. Having that coverage against Lantern might actually make it somewhat playable in the Great League. And that Pokemon already in the Ultra League is quite a fun core breaker. I think with a grass move, it could be pretty insane. Although grass coverage is not quite as useful in the Ultra League, it's definitely a useful thing to have for it. The entire Cypher, Caesar, Cleaver family, Teddiursa, Ursaring, Ursaluna, Deerling and Sawsbuck Rockruff, and Lycanroc. I'm guessing this is probably Lycanroc Day. Fomantis and Lurantis will both have Trail Blaze. I'm not too sure if this will be better to have than Leaf Blade, because of course Leaf Blade is an amazing move, but we will see how that goes. Squovit, Stunky, Skunktank will all have this move. Berserker with this move is quite an interesting one. Girafarig, Fanfi, Donphan, again, ground type with that coverage against Lantern, definitely a huge thing. We're just getting an absolute ton of grass coverage, and I really think that's what we needed in this meta. So again, I don't even know where to start thinking about this, but a lot of things are happening. We're getting a ton of Triple Axle in Pokemon, which again is the +1 attack. Galarian Mr. Mime, Sneasel, Weavile, Hitmontop, Kirlia, Gardevoir, Lopunny, Mr. Rhyme, Steenie, Sarina with an ice attack. That is very interesting. It's going to have Mystical Leaf as the fast attack and an ice move, so that can possibly hit back at the Noctowls. Very, very interesting. Definitely quite like the looks of this. I think Mr. Rhyme could be quite a funny one. I've seen it being used in limited metas in the Ultra League, so maybe this will get a little bit more play now. We have the new move Scorching Sands, which once again has a chance to lower the opponent's attack by 1 stage. Something similar, by the looks of things, something similar to Scald. That's going to be added to a ton of Pokemon as well. Sandslash, which could be very, very useful for that Pokemon, especially in limited metas. Ninetales could be quite useful so you don't have 2 fire attacks. Arcanine, again, that Pokemon being so glassy, and Rapidash of course as well, do need all of those extra moves. It's getting added onto Flygon. I wonder if this will replace Earth Power. That remains to be seen, we'll have to find out about that one. Claydol, which of course will be in the Psychic Cup. Hippowdon, Magmortar. Funny, on my ult I was playing Magmar, and I was just thinking, man, if this thing had a better move, it'd be so much fun to use, and here we have it. I think most notably here is probably Diggersby. I think with Diggersby, what it really needs though, to be fair, is like a Body Slam or an Ice Punch. This doesn't really help it against the Noctowl too much, but maybe having Scorching Sands will make it a little bit more consistent, and of course it has the option of Dig and Earthquake now. So this thing at least has plenty of options, and that's always a good thing. Excadrill will be able to learn it, which could be quite consequential for the Ultra League, and of course where it is most popular in the Master League. Sandygast and Palossand are getting Scorching Sands, so that will be a little bit more of a bait move, as opposed to just Earth Power and Shadow Ball. So that's all we've got here for this. Guys, like, this is just an insane update. We've got the nerf to Medicham and Lantern, we're getting a ton of grass types buffed, we're getting a ton of these fringe Pokemon like Elisapod, which is sort of slightly meta right now, getting a buff. We're getting buffs to Lucario, we're getting buffs to just absolutely everything, a ton of things getting Breaking Swipe, we're getting buffs to Toxicroak potentially, and of course some electric types. I think this is a crazy update. We're getting all of these moves changed. Like I said, Astonish is going to help so many Pokemon, X-Scissor is going to help so many Pokemon, Aerialist is going to help so many Pokemon. This is going to absolutely flip the Great League on its head, and of course the Go Battle League in general. I think they could have done a little bit better with the league selections. Again, not a huge fan of the 2-week cups, but you know, for everything they've done here, I'm not going to be the first one to complain about that. I've just got to say, this update's looking very exciting, and we'll have a look to see if we can find any more information about it here. So on top of all of these move changes, we're getting brand new Pokemon getting added into the game. Do you think that apple is a coincidence, or do you think we're getting an apple in the game? Something similar to a pineapple or a banana, right? But they're just showcasing here that these new Pokemon will be coming, and you're going to see right at the very end here, we're getting the starters and this pig. I honestly, sorry guys, I don't know Paldean Pokemon that well. So we're now actually seeing that this page is updated with all of the new Pokemon from the Paldean region. So the Ultra Unlock, which we unlocked during GoFest, is going to include Nimble, which I'm glad it's got the names here because I don't know, to be honest with you. Lokix, Pommy, Pomo, and Pomot, which I believe is a fighting electric type. Yeah, Pomot's a fighting electric type. Definitely a very unique typing and could be quite fun. And we have Bombardier, Frigibax, Arctibax, and Baxcalibur. Definitely some quite interesting Pokemon here. As you can see here, 50 candies to evolve Nimble into Lokix, 25 Pommy to evolve it into Pomo, and 100 to evolve Pomo into Pomot, 25 Frigibax candy to evolve it into Arctibax, and then of course 100 for this thing. And I wonder if Bombardier is going to be like a different type of Pelipper, so maybe this Bombardier will have a slightly different coverage to Pelipper, and it could be something like that. We've got the Ultra Unlock bonus here of Lechonk. I believe this Pokemon evolves into different things, and we're actually getting this Ultra Unlock for 4 times XP and 4 times Stardust for catching these Pokemon. We of course have some ped research with these new backpacks and whatever else, and encounters with Palmy and rare candies and so on. So yeah, of course get that if you want. We've got event bonuses here. These Pokemon are going to be more likely to be shiny. Hoppip, Houndour, Buizel, and Fletchling. Fair enough, I guess. And we have a special research here to choose your starter Pokemon. which is going to be pretty exciting here. So for wild eventers for this event, we're going to have, of course, these ones we just mentioned. Spurgarito, Coco, Quaxley, Lechonk, which can be shiny out of the box, Nimble, Palmy, and Frigibax. So these are all going to be wild spawns, these starter Pokemon, which is pretty cool, which means we don't have to just choose one. In raids we've got the unknowns, which, I mean, who cares? Turtonator, Cleavor, and Bombardier, which of course Cleavor just got buffed. And we have Northern Hemisphere Cartana and Southern Hemisphere Celesteela. South North from 8 to 16. Mega Raids, Mega Manectric, nothing too crazy. We have these Pokemon spawning in eggs, 7km eggs. And we have research tasks with Palmy. Honestly, the season looks kind of insane. We've got tons of move updates, we've got tons of new Pokemon coming, and of course as the season progresses, we're going to be getting more and more new Pokemon. We're not even finished yet, like there's just so much to go for here, it's actually wild. We've got Shadow Zapdos coming in for the seasonal Shadow, which I guess is pretty cool. Looks like they're going to be opening up routes a little bit more. We're just going to scan for you here. Pokestop showcases, seasonal highlights, special research. Oh, we're going to be getting a timed investigation for a brand new Master Ball, which is quite nice. I haven't actually used mine yet. We've got the community days here. Of course, this one's going to be Charmander. I'm not sure if we will have the raid schedules for the entire season yet, but we have it. It actually shows you the Pokestop showcases here, which is quite interesting. Looks like we've got Raikou, Entei, and Suicune coming back in raids. Of course, we did get the buff to Entei, so that does make sense. And we've got Mega Gardevoir coming back, so that's definitely very, very nice. I haven't actually caught these Pokemon yet myself. City Safaris, of course you guys can go through that, and we've went through all of the Go Battle League stuff here. From Research Breakthrough, looks like we're getting Galarian Farfetch, Larvitar, Sableye, Bagon, Furfrou, Gumi, which is quite good. And here's all of the seasonal wild spawns. Gengar spawning in the wild, Beldum, which is very, very good for me. I definitely want to get one for Master League. The Dene, which I'm super surprised didn't get a buff. Shout out to Swag Tips, man. I know he's not feeling happy about that one. To be fair, like, that thing's just overdue a buff. It's pretty low-hanging fruit. Scraggy, which will be quite a nice spawn. In forests, we have pretty normal stuff here. Chanseys, Lopunny, Krogong, Shelmet, Morlul, Oranguru. It's all fair enough. We have Sableye in the mountains, which is quite nice, and Onyx, which of course did get the buff. We have Fletchinder, Golett. I don't think we've had Golett spawning for a while, so that's quite cool. Togedemaru. We've got wild spawns for Gumi, Dewpider, Sandygast in the wild, which is very nice, and we haven't had that yet. We have some of the Johto starters here, Larvitar, and Amora spawning in the wild, which is amazing in the Northern Hemisphere. And in the Southern Hemisphere, looks like we've got Oshawott, Tortuga, and Dino. Definitely Northern Hemisphere is taking the W of Amora here. 2km eggs, we've got Chinchu, Meditite. Looks like they're really just trying to make those super common here. Larvesta in 2km eggs. So finally, we might actually be able to use that Pokemon. 5k eggs, we've got Larvesta as well. I guess they're just trying to give that thing out at this point. Lickitung and all of the starters in 5k eggs. 7k eggs, we've got Hisuian Pokemon, which is cool. 10km eggs, we've got Carbink, okay. Very, very interesting. And Frigibax, Jangmo-O, Gumi, Larvesta, and more. Now, here's the interesting one. Seasonal bonuses here. Trainers can open up to 40 gifts daily. Not that interesting. And send up to 40, which again, not that interesting. Remote raid bonus and XP for friendship. I don't know about that one. I think I would prefer the Excel Candy, to be perfectly honest with you, but everything that this update's put in so far, like, once again, I'm not going to be the first one to complain about it. Well guys, I think this is going to be a super long video, but we had a lot to get through. Hope you all enjoyed, man. I'm going to try to edit and cut this video down to below 30 minutes if possible, but hope you guys are excited for the new season. I am definitely super excited, and of course as we get some new information, I'll be trying to provide some sort of ideas on what the meta is going to look like. And of course I'm going to be showcasing just a ton of these Pokemon. It's super exciting time to be playing Go Battle League, and let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time for a brand new video.